linking up together with Buckland in the mid lane, and now they have the chance. He's on the Xin Zhao. He can play more proactively in the early game, look for these ganks, look to get his mid laner ahead, who has had a phenomenal game.
Oh, yeah.
Game 1 with the Akali, with the same champion now. A few of the problems that Akali did run into in game number 1 was the Jax.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that she was Anathema's chained from the Jax this entire game. Now, Gangplank, mind you, he puts a lot of barrels which you could get a hit from, but he doesn't have any point click or any type of CC to stop you from getting into the backline.
No, certainly not easy. And I think while we're talking about these junglers, let's dive in a little bit because Linkus and Dan have been two of our better junglers through the split. Yes, Dan's had a rougher time of it as the team's fallen apart a little bit. But honestly, I think they are two of our best junglers this entire split. Honestly, this entire year for Dan in particular. And you can just see it there in the numbers, hugely involved in a lot of what their teams do.
Absolutely, and as you can see, the damage per minute goes towards a set of Linkus because Linkus has gravitated towards more of the Graves that you've seen, the Dianas,
yeah.
of course, the Karthus, more damage-oriented champions rather than Dan, has fallen back to what is his best meta, which is the facilitators, the gankers, the guys that do start and end team fights, right? Kill participation, of course, goes mostly for Linkus because we've mentioned that mid-jungle duo for Dusty does most of the work, whilst let's not forget that when MNS was over in JDXL...
Not a solo kill.
A lot of solo kill, so it does take down a bunch of
exactly. Like when people are winning their lanes in their 1v1s without you, jungle's life's a lot easier, but that kill participation number is a little bit misleading.
It screws up with your numbers, man.
Yeah, so like, don't take that as Dan not being involved. He is. It was just there was other stuff going on. We'll have to keep an eye on it as this game goes on. Very aggro early junglers.
Real quickly, as we're looking at the mid lane again, I'd like to have a look at this matchup yet again, because Buckland had Roscoe's number in the first game by far. He was ahead in CS, he was ahead in trades. Every time he was looking from Roscoe in the side lanes, trying to kill him, trying to take his summoners. Now, of course, from Roscoe, game 2 was his first W in the NLC, his first win ever in the NLC, which is massive for two things. Morale boost, but also knowing that his team can rely on him to win the game once the resources have been put into his champion. Right now, with a champion that can create a lot of engages and disengages, Silas with Zinza ult is huge, and Silas with Gnar ult, with Sten's North.
Well, they're all good ults, really. Yeah. I mean, probably the Aphelios is the worst one, but even then, it's not awful, right? Like, that's 4 fantastic ones and 1 decent one. You're feeling pretty okay there as a Silas. And, you know, serious praise to the XL mid jungle who made those early plays in the mid lane so effective. Honestly, we were both very nervous when they made that happen. But my question becomes, can they do it again? Can they make this a series winning thing? Because we said they had a lot of room to get growing as they were heading into this series. And thus far, pretty good as Sten misses that dredge line, but dodges the grand entrance. So managing to just about dance his way out of danger there.
And honestly, talking about replicating this, you see that Buckland has to respect. Obviously, the wave is pushing towards him, so he will be able to catch up as FTG has taken a bunch of hurt in this particular trade. But Dan has wrapped around, and he has his sights on Buckland.
Buckland quickly shuriken flips away, but you can see Buckland being forced into a difficult position, staying away from the wave. Of course, it will push into him, so still gets access, but...
I think the most important thing for Dusty is shutting down Buckland in the mid lane. A lot of the times you're like, shut down Kerberos, shut down Kerberos, shut down Kerberos. But Kerberos' best performances has been on his favorite niche champions, namely the Narcissus, the Dariuses. He's getting tower dived.
It's still, again, on a champion that was supposed to be hard. The turret dive and the flash will not matter. First blood to Cries. And once again, Curb on this Gnar, getting a little bit manhandled, cannot escape like he did in game 1.
Loses his flash earlier on. I was actually having a chat with Genax and I was like, what's happening between the Gnar and the Gangplank matchup? Like, who wins? Because I've seen a lot of Gnars in the NOC bullying the Gangplanks underneath the towers. We've seen Gnars 20 to 15 CS up in laning phase. And he told me that has to do with the quality of the Gangplank. It doesn't have to do with the Gnar. The better the Gangplank you are, the more bullying you're going to put down on the Gnar, because Gangplank has the earlier matchup into the Gnar. And of course, you scale hard into that late game as well. So Cries here is one of the best Gangplanks that we have over in the NOC. That pick was banned back-to-back in games 1 and 2. And right now, with that early kill, has the Sheen. He's going to be able to bully Kerberos away. We need to see if Linkus will be able to actually assist Kerberos on the top side of the map.
Can you parlay your way to victory before Gnar, of course, with his passive gets that?
You know what?
Range?
You know what?
Can you win the barrel minigame? What?
Yar. Okay, let's go on. You know what? I'll leave.
You're gonna walk the plank and you're gonna like it.
I'll leave for that disappointment in your face, man.
I'm the one who makes the puns. What is this? Between you and Nymera, I'm surrounded by color casters that enjoy truly awful puns. And they've got Goldborg, whose best joke is who asked. Like that's literally it.
I'm not English, so I'm all about bad puns, okay? That's it.
I mean, there are a lot to go for.
Yeah. Yeah. At least I'm not doing the who asked.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally all
Or
Goldborg
have you
has.
seen these?
He's not hidden
We all
feathers,
know the continuation of that.
unfortunately so.
Yeah. That's Goldborg in a nutshell.
Sadly so. Like, if you wanted to know what Goldborg's like behind the scenes, it's literally that. And he giggles to himself. He just sort of sits there and is very pleased. It's wonderful. What is also wonderful, though, is, of course, League of Legends here in the NLC, and I'll drag us swiftly away from the incredible tangent we were on to sort of see how this game is going on. Because, of course, the first blood did go towards the top jungle, the veterans of XL. Dan has changed up the playstyle here. He's gone back to early gankers. He's making the Jarvan work. Now 2 games in a row, but Den Voxney and crew have teamed up with Linkas here to get an early dragon, though. And that could be another win condition here.
Yeah, and honestly, I would love to keep a track of Linkus' early game proactivity right here, because he's on a... Oh, Moscow might be in a little bit of trouble here. Sten has roamed all the way to that mid lane, but I'd like to keep a track on Linkus here, on a much more proactive early game jungler. Hasn't necessarily done much. He's like on the same trajectory as he was in games 1 and 2. He's looking for that level 6. He's looking for the team fights. I'm actually starting to get honestly worried right here for Dusty, because Dusty used to be one of the more proactive teams that we had in the early game. Yes, their bot lane would be weak side, but they would play a lot around the Linkas and backline duo, and they would make plays in the early game. Now it is actually JDXL with the hand on the trigger every single game, and that makes it a little bit dangerous. Yes, it puts it as a double-edged sword towards XL. You make a wrong move, you get instantly punished. Sure. But also, if you're just gonna wait for the game to be on your side, on your items, on your terms, you might wait forever and never get your chance.
We've seen how that can be punished. Like, think to some of the better NA teams of all time. Team Liquid at their best, we're often really good at punishing other people's mistakes, but you hit a particular level, you go to EU Masters and these teams aren't giving you those openings, you can end up in a tricky position. Of course, game 1, let's give some credit, that Graves took over the map, like, ran over, stormed, like, stole every camp available, and it was off some miracle team fights they came back into the game to JDXL. But the last 2 games, the Jarvan's been very proactive, and Linkas has been a little behind the play. Of course, still very early on, still got the early dragon, so things still very playable. We've got about a minute until the Herald becomes a real concern and consideration for either of these teams. And I wonder whether that's where we'll start seeing Linkas try and make things happen, especially now with the Crescent Guard just available.
Roscoe needs to overextend right here. He does have Lucky Lair control ward, and he does have Dan on the bot side of the map, but his wave is at the stage where he really needs to push that so it crashes. Backline is going to keep it right there and under his own terms. He's going to choose to clear it right now and push it back to even, but the thing is that look where the wave is going to be for the majority of the time from Roscoe, and a melee champion is going to have to overextend. Dusty have been pulling all of their guns towards the top side of the map to try and contest for the Rift Trail and take it for themselves. And unfortunately for JDXL, they're way too late. You see that their 2 carries, Venzer and Roscoe, are coming all the way from base. They might still look to fight. They do have Cries, level 7.
Sten lands the Dredge but can't get too much more down, but it's just keeping people zoned. Herald goes down, but what about the turnaround? Where is the Cataclysm? Where the turnaround? Moonlight Vigil onto 3. That'll be a potential turnaround from Venzer's backline. Taken so low, he's in a cannon barrage. Has to flash on out. Roscoe goes in. Venzer on the side, but look at Den Voxney. Crescendum Severum onslaughts through the ball. That's a kill back. But what about Roscoe? He has to try and get out of here. Linkas dive forward with an audacious charge. A double to Den Voxney. They get the Herald, and Dusty wipe that fight.
And we said JDXL were late to the play. Look at topside. Cries has half HP, half mana. Only done an FTG out there, and FTG does not have level 6, which is one of the most important spells on the Rakan. Really good engage, and the Cannon Barrage stops Den Voxney and Linkas from getting in. But look at Venzer. Venzer overextends, trying to greedily get the kill on backline, and Voxney, with a last-second heal, saves his mid lane and puts Venzer in a position where he can't get out alive from. JDXL will lose that Rift Arrow, will lose 2 of their lives. Double kill going to the Aphelios, and a bunch of the Samurai spells have gone away as well. I'm looking again at Linkas to see how proactive he can be right now to try and take even more away from JDXL.
Absolutely, and serious credit to Den Voxney. He gets the Crescendo ult off and does not drop the Shurikens. Everyone dives in, he's already warned it, but he just gets more as it goes on.
Yep.
And you know, that's always the danger, right? You don't murder the Aphelios, you don't let those Shurikens time out. You see that kind of damages root onto Venzer into the depth charge, and he'll go over the wall. He will get out to safety, so Sten won't get much more than the flash, but Venza's forced away from the turret. And with Crescendum in inventory and a Herald, that's just the tower.
That's classic Dusty, again, giving resources down to Den Voxne. Roscoe's gonna come towards the bottom of the map. Cries is actually clearing the jungle, doesn't have the ultimate, quite likely to try and help in a team fight. Does it break out? But that is yet again 4 turret platings going to Den Voxne, 2 kills going to Den Voxne. So much gold going towards the side of that Aphelios, and the faster you get towards a Galeforce, already 1,000 gold up from Venza, the more of a problematic carry will be to deal with from the side of JDXL.
Yeah, and let's talk about that again, because normally Venza's the one who gets ahead in the early game. Some volatile things we said, like a lot of kills, a lot of death, but Den Voxne is normally left weak side, normally left to get the gold later onto the game. This time around, way up in gold, way up in this game.
And don't get me wrong, Den Voxne has been weak side this entire series. It's the first time he does get the Rift Herald, as JDXL might be looking for a fight right here. Dusty with 4 members down bot.
Sten, there's been heat-seeking on this Nautilus. Forcing Dan back up, of course, does have the flag and drag, so won't be dragged down into the depth alongside the diver, but Dusty and JDXL really trying to take control of this river, because it will be a second Drake potentially. Gonna find the Cataclysm though. Sten gets charmed up and has nowhere to go. I think that's just a kill to JDXL, nowhere to go. Just standing a little bit too long in that river.
Really quickly, there is a Kerberos TP right there, and there is nothing for Cries, not even an ultimate. Den Voxne.
Vigil starts coming through alongside the Dusk Wave into the backside, goes backlands in Den Voxne. They try to get the blue buff and get punished for it. Another double to Den Voxne, 100% of the kills. And that is a dangerous, dangerous player to give your gold to.
JDXL overreads, and they actually get punished 4-0 for Den Voxne's Aphelios. And let's see this fight again. JDXL again are looking to try and get some kills down on the map. Sten doesn't have much mana. He's going to get locked into the Cataclysm. No flash for him, so he's going to end up going down. That's it. Get away. Walk it out, boys. Den Voxne is so strong right now. He has his flash available. Hits the Moonlight Vigil with the Inferno. A lot of damage going down through the wall. And Buckland sees very low blinking targets. All he has to do is just jump in and clean up, which is exactly what he did. Of course, giving the kills over, and the kills are going over to Den Voxne for a 4-0. And we mentioned this time, Cries could not get into this fight. No teleport, no kind of barrage available for him, and he was the person who banked in the first kill on the map for JDXL. Not using him, not allowing them to utilize his power was something that did cost JDXL truly much in this fight.
You can see a lot of on the way pings there into the red side jungle as Dan does use the Hex Gates to get over there and trade this one out, but it looks like Linkus is going to try and make sure he does an appropriate cross. Matt steals away the red buff on the other side, but now Sten, potentially in a tricky position here, about to find himself on the wrong end of Dan coming forward, but I don't know how easy this will be to actually kill off the Nautilus, so the back away, Den Voxne finally claims that final blatant first turret down in bot side, and the gold lead now very healthily in their favor. Just look at that bot side.
So, Dusty right now have about a 2,500 gold lead.
Ah, yes.
It's all on Den Voxne.
It's all on Den Voxne. What a surprise. The 4-0 Aphelios.
Literally the entire gold lead for Dusty sits on that Aphelios. An Aphelios that does not have flash available for him. Luckily enough for him, in 3.5 minutes, where the next dragon will be up and it will be soul point for Dusty, he will have his summoner back up and available. He'll have his Gale Force back up and available. And this time, Roscoe, the man of the hour in the previous game, he's not on Ari, he's not on a champion that can very easily find that backline. He needs to find the flank, he needs to find the correct ultimates in the fight to try and reach Den Voxne, dive into the backline, get together with Dan and the barrels and ultimates from Cries to try and find Den Voxne. And while all this is going on, you somehow need to contain Buckland's Akali as well. So I feel like there's a lot of threats on the side of Dusty and not a lot of water on the side of JDXL to extinguish the fires.
Completely agree. There's a river in the middle of the map, but that's not going to be particularly useful for putting out these fires. So did see Kerberos try and grease for that second plate there on the top, so I couldn't quite make it work and decided this is probably a bit risky and has to back away. 2.5 minutes until what would be the next Drake. That would be Soul Point. Of course, it's not Ocean, it is Hextech. That is a spectator bug, so do be advised it is the Hex Soul on the line. And I suspect that will be where Dusty will be putting a lot of their attention in a couple of minutes.
One of the biggest discrepancies here, also in itemization, is the fact that almost everyone has got their mythic item up and available, except Dan and Roscoe. The mid-jungle duo that actually tore apart Game 2 for JDXL have actually fallen behind right now. And if you look on the other side, Gold Drinker up and available for Linkers, Rocket Belt up and available for Backland. I don't know if JDXL want to fight this again without Kreis. Kreis doesn't have TP. Kerberos does have TP to enter this fight. Last time that went really bad for them was around that Rift Herald in the early game, and JDXL are just going to put their hands up and walk away. That means though that Dusty do have a pretty potent weapon to open up that mid lane tower.
And they can time it, right? They've got time on this one for when the dragon spawns. So you can say, we put it down in mid lane, we get the tower charge there, we can get the soul point at the same time. Like, Dusty, you've got their next few minutes planned out very happily for them. And Venza, not like this, gets popped, but frozen just over the wall. And Kerberos is here. The depth charge knocks him up, and Kerberos surely knocks him down. JDXL lose their AD carry.
He thought he was playing towards the side of his teammates. Well, guess what? Kerberos had actually roamed all the way from bot lane, catches Venzer off guard. They take his flash as well. This Zeri is way behind the curve right now compared to this Aphelios, who's going to be having his second item really, really soon. And you mentioned it, 1 minute from now, next Dragon's going to be coming up. Zeri's not going to be dealing as much damage as Denvoxen and this Aphelios, and the backline dive is not quite the same. The reach is not quite the same from JDXL. So if I'm Dusty, I'm sitting pretty comfortable. I've got 2 mid shields, 3 mid shields, and the likes of Nautilus, Zinzao, and Gnar creating space in front of me. You've got Backland with the backline access, trying to assassinate the carries of JDXL, which he did very perfectly well in the first game. And then Denvoxen, who can free hit.
Yeah, and of course, at least second items haven't quite been complete. Look, you've got a completion cost away from Denvoxen. And that is the difference. You're fighting at least at Mythic to Mythic right now. Might be JDXL's best chance to find a fight on at least vaguely similar standings.
Very importantly, out of all the ultimates, Roscoe has kept the Akali ultimate for himself. He does favor being able to reach the backline. Let's see if he can.
Linker so aggressive, stepping forward, gets ignited. There's a trial by fire as well, so he's chunked out to about half HP just under. Kerberos hits Mega Nara's dragon's about to spawn. And they're going to try and trade this one out. The jungler being at half HP, though, means there's a potential room to punish. Gromp being alive means there is an option to heal back up, though.
Linkus is going to move into his jungle, use that Gromp. His second smite is coming up in just a few seconds. And Backland, all the way in the backline, trying to find a flank. The backline of JDXL, again, Roscoe with that Akali ult as well. He's looking for that backline access. Then Voxen has his summoners up and available. Backland could create so much problems.
The assassin is spotted by the double Farsight alteration. They know he's there. They know he's off vision now. Can they stop him, though? Dragon down to 2,000 HP. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to see a bit of a fight. Backland goes into the back. Dragon secure. Cannon Barrage comes down. Moonlight Vigil just short. Means they're not going to lose anybody quite yet. Kreis has to flash away from Roscoe with the perfect execution. Still has to flash. Backland uses the second part of that R to try and get on the down, who flags and drags away. And GDXL get out with no members lost. But they do not get the dragon, and Dusty gets soul points.
That was the most important thing. They needed to break that dragon streak from Dusty because they're going to be falling further and further away. You see the fact that the backline was wrapped around trying to find a flank. It didn't mean anything that Kerberos was meaning now because the threat is still there. The fact that backline is coming from a flank. And all I saw right there was JDXL backing the heck off a fight. Every single one of them flashed defensively, even though the Moonlight Vigil did not find the mark. You see that Dusty, all they need to do is just get the soul, which is another hex deck, same as game 1. Try to use that to get a pick, go Baron, end game. They've got the better front to back this time.
And like, that was the point when there wasn't the second item completions. Literally after that, Denvoxen goes back and gets the Bloodthirster. Now that item scrap is going to stay there, and it's going to be even harder. You've got 4 minutes, just under, before the soul's available. And Hex Soul on this team, it's going to be brutal to keep your distance.
Yeah. I was about to say, if I'm this Zeri 2 levels down to the Akali, I don't know how close to the Akali I would be playing.
No, I know.
As you see, Backland is trying again to find a way to cut off Venza from these fights, and he's been doing it spectacularly. Something that I'm really missing from this game for JDXL, something that we've been highlighting, is Kreis. And it feels like banning away his Jax, letting the Gangplank go through, has actually freed Backland from being able to jump into this backline. It feels like the cannon barrages have not had the same impact as his counter-strikes in the backline.
Yeah.
His barrels have not been hitting the mark, and even though this is an extremely fed Jax, very close to the second item, he's just not hit the mark quite yet.
The thing is, that's the way Gangplank is now. He's not quite as dominant as he once was. It's changed to be, you know, 3 items, barrels hit like absolute bombs, right? But he's not there yet. And the question is he ever going to get the chance? Because the rest of the map is really far behind. The mid-jungle hasn't had the same impact. Denvoxen is 4-0-1, has been involved in absolutely everything. But maybe the moment we say Kreis hasn't got anything done, he might be about to try and murder Kerberos again. gets the flash out.
That's so important though. 2 minutes and 40 seconds until Soul for Dusty. And imagine how important it would be Kerberos having the flash, being able to jump into this backline, getting that huge stun onto multiple members. Cries right here, we said how important his contribution was in this game and that we haven't seen him much. Takes a little bit of charge on the side lane, taking that flash is a step towards the right direction, although 4,000 gold in the lead for Dusty. Most of this gold is sitting on the box and he has been untouched the entire game.
Oh, yes, he has. And again, the closer and closer he gets to what will likely be an infinity edge, the harder it gets. Linkcast as well, on a very different style of champion. No more of the farming, no more of the scaling. Has gone straight towards the aggression. And the Xin Zhao has been a problem in these mid-game fights. And it's set up very nicely for this Aphelios to be well and truly a carry.
And again, you've got Na, you've got Xin Zhao, you've got Aphelios with the right guns. You do not necessarily need that Soul. Go for the Baron, try to push your side lanes, put more pressure onto the map. Allow JDXL to stop your Soul right here, take the Baron for free, and then start pushing for vision and try to team fight, which is what Dusty have very well done the entire season.
Indeed, they have, and it's back to what we've expected of them a lot more, and they look a lot more clean on this one. They tried a different style. One-on-one wasn't entirely convincing, but you saw how it was supposed to work. They go back to this style, and honestly, this game, outside of the initial kill, topside has felt pretty in command for Dusty.
I think the biggest problem right here is that the mid lane play was not successful from the side of JDXL. One of the big factors of their win in game 2 was shutting down Backland. Backland has pretty successfully farmed himself almost 2 items. He's got 1.5, he's got the stopwatch in there, and as you can see, there's 4 stopwatches on the side of Dusty. They know how crucial the next fight is, and those 4 items, those 4 investments might come in clutch towards, if you're looking at these barrels, if you're looking at these dives in the backline from Roscu, if you're looking at Dan dive in the backside. 4 investment items for Dusty could save them this team fight, which means if they get the dragon, they win the game.
Cries has decided to change his career, though. He's gone to be a taxman because the collector is complete, and that might be a very necessary item coming into this button.
What's
Backland vision will not quite go forwards, gets the skill can flip onto Cries, who has to run away very quickly, but not found too much more. Fighting for vision control now. Kerberos nearly at Mega as well, charging that rage bar up, and they're both looking for a flank.
This is the exact same type of fight JDXL had to flash from in the previous time. Add insult to injury, Kerberos does have Mega now right here, doesn't have his flash available.
The turnaround though, that's the category. What about the turnaround, trying to heal up? That's the turn of Aphelios! They've killed him off into 1-for-1. Then goes the Kerberos, who kills off Cries. 1-for-1 right now. Dragon though, likely to be JDXL's. They have to retreat to Dusty. They stave off the Soul.
I have given so much I'm not gonna say the word, to Venza for a bunch of his level 3 plays. Right here, he's been deprived of gold, experience, items. Keep your eyes on that Zeri, because we said, how in the world do you kill this Aphelios? You jump over the wall, you flash ult in, and you play the assassin yourself. Major props to the JDXL AD carry to follow the engage, jump over the wall, jump onto the Voxney, and cash in on the shutdown as well. Really good stuff for JDXL, finding the angle right there onto the Dusty AD carry. Again, this is one fight found, and the kill did go over to Mrosku, sorry, it didn't go over to Venza, which means that this Silas has gotten a little bit tankier now, having that Hourglass, being able to dive a little bit deeper, but again, Dusty with the better front to back. The only unfortunate thing for JDXL is that they have to replicate something that was under a bunch of conditions to happen again. And then Voxney does have his flash available for the next fight to come.
There's 3 stopwatches as well, 1 in the mid, jungle, and AD carry positions for Dusty, which makes it a lot harder to make that wombo combo trap work. Burn a lot of your own abilities to do so. With those flashes down, Dusty can look to punish. Link is looking for an angle around the back here. FGG, Mroscu, Dan are the 3 members.
There are no towers where JDXL are going and Dusty wrapping around.
Stend has the ultimate, may use it here, gets the dredge line. Mroscu has to go golden, but remember, he's the one with the kills. He's the one with the potential shutdowns. They don't go any further, though. They don't feel comfortable doing it.
They don't have to necessarily, because you see Cry's moving towards the top side of the map, trying to cover for his team. What does that mean? Kerberos gets free time with the tower. Now, talking about free time with the tower, his flash is just about to come up because Cry's took his last time around where they had a 1 versus 1. So he needs to respect the fact that Cry's is coming back to lane. But nevertheless, the fact that Cry's had to hover towards the top side of the map, the fact that there was a potential fight breaking out and Cry's had to walk towards there, Kerberos took that sweet time and chunked that tower down.
Absolutely. An important stall, but that's what it is for now. It's a stalling mission. We need to see JDXL find advantages yet, and that has not been the case. But maybe a pick on a backline could do it. They get the knock-up, he gets down the shroud, but can they finish him off? He's going to have a shuriken flip to try and get out of it, gets over the wall, still has the stopwatch, and none of it is burned. He gets out for now on the bot side. There's a fight going on. Can't quite kill off the GP. Flash for the trial by fire! Shut down, and Kerberos dies in the picture-in-picture.
This time it's Cry's burning his flash, but it's as a hero getting in, getting that solo kill, taking Kerberos out of the map for 35 seconds. What can JDXL do for these 35 seconds, though? Because it is the timer where they reset. They all go back to base, so Dusty do not have to worry. If anything, they're actually walking into the Baron pit. So going to start the Baron. I don't know if there's any wards that can actually see what's happening. Cry's does have to be if he wants to join. The rest of the map is on the bot side. This is daylight robbery.
Tom Cruise is nodding his head somewhere because Mission Impossible is coming off flawlessly. They will rappel into the Baron pit and they'll get on out. Heist is complete. It's the new Oceans movie, I'm telling you. What a plotline.
Honestly, beautiful stuff right there from Dusty. And again, we're going to see the 1 versus 1 happening between Cry's and Kerberos. Kerberos is going to get that Mega Knight. He gets the extra combat stats for himself. And I'm pretty sure he gets that Mega Knight onto the wall, onto Cry's. Of course, he's going to cleanse that. And he gets really close. But that was a really beautiful 3-barrel chain to hit Kerberos on the edge of that Gangplank ult. But then all of this pressure that Kerberos actually absorbed gave the time to Dusty whilst JDXL were resetting to sneak in that Baron, and now JDXL have to deal with the pressure of 2 to 3 lanes pushing against them with Baroned up minions, and this time you don't have the Sivir anymore to wave clear.
No, you do not. Of course, Kerberos kept his flash, and that could mean he's still got the playmaking opportunities. Hell, there are 4 stopwatches between Dusty right now.
Very interestingly,
yeah, what have you got for me?
There's 3 members of JDXL on the wrong side of the map.
That's an interesting choice.
Actually, this could be very dangerous for whoever walks down there for Dusty. They're covering, of course, for Cry's. FG has already gotten back. Linkas is going to find out that his blue buff has been completely stolen away. But this is very dangerous. You need to start backing off with your JDXL because there are hex gates, and this could very easily happen. Roscoe has actually backed. He does have the TP. Do they pull the trigger?
The future is now, old man. Rapid transmit systems coming in clutch. Say thanks to Jace for us. The Hex Gates force out a couple key abilities and summoners there from JDXL. Teleport down from Cry's, flash down from Dan.
Reed cost them a summoner spell and a very important other summoner spell, which is the teleport.
No, they're going to get him caught up. They're going to force a stopwatch, but he's got nowhere to go. This is with the dragon about to spawn. Overextension from the top laner.
It's a back-to-back. Cry's overextends, gets his teleport taken away. Kerberos overextends, gets his life taken away. Morosco's in the backline. There's 3 members of Dusty looking for him.
Look at Linkas on the other side, though. He has to flash out, but what can Morosco do? He's being zoned off. He's got 2 people on him. He has to flash on the other side. He goes golden, but will he have any other options? Perfect execution on the other side. There is a Cataclysm going down stand, and Linkas left out. Moonlight Vigil gets on to 3. Make it 4, but Dusty are being rotated. Over the wall goes Dead Box. They try to trade out with Kushendum and Severin, but he's dead. A double to Cry's, and JDXL are about to fight another massive fight into another dragon. I think they're making a comeback, Georgia.
Oh my god, this is a heartbreaker. JDXL find again the angle. They punish Kerberos from overextending. They know they have the numbers advantage. Vents are coming in like Superman to help Roscoe not die. And yet again, we'll see. Oh, he gets spotted just about with the flag.
Oh no.
The flag buffs, the fact that it stays for longer right now. Have killed Kerberos right there. And the 4 versus 5. XL had to burn crucial ultimates right there, don't get me wrong. And the fact that Roscoe overdives in the backline, overextends, Mr. Buckland and Vox with the 2 carries, get him really low, but look at that, he flies in like Superman, puts down the exhaust onto Buckland, and forces the 2 carries of Dusty away from Roscoe. That frees up Dan and Cry's, the 2 veterans of JDXL, to put down the chains of barrels and take everyone down.
Saw Denvoxe flashing and he thought he had the angle. He did not quite. 5-1-1 now. It's this Gangplank who's a win condition in his own right.
The man of the hour, I think.
You have finally got an Infinity Edge on Denvoxe. You've still got that stopwatch. It's still pretty scary, but
Okay.
Honestly, JDXL, I
Listen.
thought they were out in this game.
Yeah, sure. But we've said that these 3 stopwatches have been in this game for what? 3 team
I know.
fights right now?
Yeah.
And then Voxen has died 3 times without using them.
Twice.
I think the fact that he used the stopwatch before the fight in game number 2 has haunted
A
him.
little bit.
So now he's not using it at all. He's waiting for that Guardian Angel to come through instead. Obviously, we're joking right here, but the fact that, again, these 3 stopwatches have been for more than 10 minutes in these inventories for the set of Dusty, and they have lost very crucial team fights, speaks a lot about how neck-to-neck this series is. The fact that you have to be so quick with your reactions, how close the team fights are, the angles JDXL are finding, Dusty trying to play their front-to-back flawlessly. It is so incredibly close. Gold, dead even. The 1k gold doesn't matter. What does matter, though, is that death cap almost completed from Roscoe. 3 minutes and 1 minute and a half for the next objective, which is Baron. Can we see, please, the money into Roscoe's pocket right now? Because he also has a Codex, if I'm not wrong.
Phoenix Codex
Thank you very
alongside
much.
the 2
So
needlessly
if you
large
can go
rods.
back, sell that, get a death cap, would be huge. If we can see the money, please, in Silas' pocket.
There
Thank
it
you very
is.
much, observers.
He needs about 50 more gold. He needs the 1/100 for the death cap completion
Does
cost.
have a cannon
Oh,
there.
Kryze will find a hold on to Kerberos! Taken out again, but what about Dan? Can he get out? Kryze has to flash, but the turnaround becomes pretty huge. Moonlight Vigil shuts down the gangplank. Back to Golden into the cannon barrage. Will he have time to get out? Will have a Shuriken Flip, gets out to safety. It's a 1-for-1.
Roscoe has backed, and he might actually do have the death cap in his inventory right here. And if he does have that,
Teleport
he can actually teleport in top lane.
He wants to get a hold of this top lane tier 2. There's no way to contest this, but he doesn't have a huge amount of a wave to work with here. We'll still get it nonetheless.
But Dusty are backing away. You can't get more than that tier 2. I'm not sure how important that tier 2 was to JDXL to burn that teleport with. That means right now you cannot necessarily have too much side lane pressure with your Sylas. You need to group up your Sylas together with the rest of the team. He doesn't have the teleport to join if a fight breaks out. And it might as well break out in about 15 seconds when the Baron comes up. It has been an objective that both of these teams have been seeking. You've got an Aphelios. You take down this Baron so quickly. Same thing with Zeri on the other side. Of course, JDXL need to wait for Kryze to spawn right here. He does have the teleport to join. He needs to, but Dusty have always been first at objectives to set down their vision.
Eyes on Voxney, eyes on Kryze, both 4-item carries for their teams. Dusty, a former champion in Voxney, he is leading their charge. On the other side, Kryze, a man who we asked to step up after M&S left a gaping hole in the team's damage numbers, if nothing else. Kryze has been doing it this series. His gangplank and, of course, his Jax has been really something else. He's in a position to earn JDXL match point, but they have to survive the onslaught. It's a minute until Soul Point again. They've stalled it twice. Can they do it a third?
I love how Dusty are actually using Voxney as a bait right there. Mind you, Voxney does not have a Gale Force up. It's still in cooldown. And doesn't have a Flash up. It's also still in cooldown. So he's overextended right there, baiting JDXL, thinking that he does have everything he needs to actually get away. But it's not going to be the case. JDXL are faced with the same exact thing over and over again. Entering the river second over to Dusty. Of course, Kerberos does not have his Mega now, but he does have his GA, so he can charge up his bar and give away a lot of his HP bar to get that rage up and going. And Buckland needs to find the correct flank. He's gonna stick in the same bush he's done all along. JDXL do not care about that. They're gonna push the wave and enter the river later on. 10 seconds until Dragon spawns, and Buckland is already in position.
One final act, one final dance. 33 minutes into the game, this could be it that decides it. Linkus gonna get jumped on, but surviving. Voxney knocked up, knocked down, but he stopwatches. He stays alive, but can he stay alive any longer? They're gonna get one. That will be a dead FGG. The rest of the health bar's beginning to go down. A massive detonation onto Kerberos, who resurrects. Mroshku goes in, gets a hold of him. Venger on the other side, running rampant. Spark Surge and lightning crashing his way through. Linkus tries to get a hold of Mroshku. They cannot. JDXL are about to win Game 3.
I crown Dusty as they team fight kings, but JDXL, no matter what difficulties they've been faced with, they have surpassed them. And again, Venzer dies diving in the backline, finding backline, exhausting him and taking him out. I've given him so much shit during the season, but damn is he stepping up in this series.
And for a team that we were doubting, more than doubting, we were saying, are they even worthy representatives for the EU Masters? Stand up and deliver in this series. Yes, they fell behind early. Yes, they've made mistakes, but my God, are they throwing some punches back.
And it's so difficult to play against this Dusty composition. They've got so many threats. The Zinzao, the Akali, the Na, the Voxner on this Aphelios. He used his stopwatch, he used his flash, and it was not enough to get away from this. JDXL are gonna be first to play. Linkas is around, can he steal this?
But they still lost the soul. Remember that Dusty still came out with that. They get the Baron though, and JDXL will take that as a prize. A one-team fight in the Baron, even if they have to play down that Herculean mountain that is a Hex Soul.
Let's watch this fight again, because I feel like here JDXL overextend and Dusty have their numbers. But then it's gonna get chunked down. Kryze has to actually get out because Kebros is zoning everyone, and Buckland has free access onto FGG, Mrosku, and Dan. He's dancing around taking everyone low, and I'm like, this is over, this is done. There's only 3 members of JDXL remaining. 3 members is enough because it's all 3 of their carries. Look at Fenza diving into the backline, flashing the hook, exhausting Buckland, taking them all down. Meanwhile, the rookie is gatekeeping everyone from reaching the low HP members of his team. And my God, JDXL, the team fighting is flawless. They said they needed 1 month, 1 week, and they look pretty damn good.
So there were 3 members in that team fight that were 1 auto away from falling.
Yeah, exactly.
JDXL, they were that close to having an Aphelios wipe them off the face of Summoner's Rift. But they hold on, they get Baron, and they need to make something of it now, because otherwise they're still facing down a comp with a Hex Soul and a lot of items on some very scary members. I need to see some more out of Backland. This Akali hasn't made enough work yet either.
Now, mind you, that was the tower where they were at right now, where they threw their Baron in game number 2. So they're gonna back off right now. They've pushed in top wave, they've pushed in bot wave, they're pushing in the mid wave with Venza as well. I think what both teams need right here to actually seal the deal is a team fight. Right now, death timers are pretty high. You manage to kill your opponent, you can actually brute force your way into the base. And Aphelios, Azaria will take down towers so quickly if they have a front line. And there's plenty of front line left on both of the sides. So next objective is going to be in 3 minutes, that Elder Dragon respawning, sorry, on the map for the very first time in this game. And I think both teams are going to be looking at it. But JDXL have not been very slow on the map. They've actually been looking constantly for fights. We need to keep in mind, though, that the Soul, Hextech Soul, went over to Dusty.
Indeed.
You get hit by an auto attack, you get slowed, you could get picked on by something like Buckland's Akali, which hasn't been as shiny as game number 1. All he needs, though, is 1 team fight to end it all.
1 team fight, the 3 items compared to the 4 and a bit from Roscuse, having a great Silas game at this point as the game's gone on, but it's now a full item build, and Voxnay with a GA complete. He as well, if he can stay alive, can absolutely win this game. Backland does get a Hex slow there with the Proto Belt. Arrows go wide, and my God, his Kryze in a similar position to the Aphelios right now as well. And it is this tier 2 in bot lane that is the next part of call for JDXL.
That is actually pretty
and got in, that's going to run after, there is no waiting, no turnaround, the GA comes through, and JDXL, the middle, are trying to turn it around. What can they get done? Absolutely everything! In goes Backland, but he just doesn't have the damage. All the while, Dusty fall apart, ashes to ashes, Dusty to dust. JDXL to 2-1.
From 20% favor to 45% favor to 69% favor to 20% favor probably for the next game. JDXL defy all odds and take lead in the series over Dusty 2-1.
What an extraordinary game. They come back